Supertrader. Was that Tom? Is
I
Tom blamed for that?
I don't know. I'm happy to blame Tom.
Karen, why don't you tell them?
It is such an honor for me to be here, and I'll tell you a little bit later about the way I've followed Dan over the years. I'm from North Carolina, and in 1986 moved to Nashville, Tennessee. My background is in math and accounting. I'm a CPA, so I love to sit in a corner and run a calculator. I never imagined I would be trading. It was the furthest thing from my mind. And then about 10 years from I wanted to take early retirement, and I thought, how am I going to support myself? I have bills to pay. I want to travel. I want to do some other things. And I went to a conference where a person from InvestTools spoke. And he convinced me that all you had to do was follow 3 red arrows and 3 green arrows, and you would make a lot of money. Then I heard about Dan and started following Dan all over the country. He was not aware that he was being stalked. But this man, I owe a lot to the training that I got from not only watching him online, but going to his live seminars. It's been a huge part of my education, and I would not be where I am today if it was not for Dan Sheridan. So I owe a lot to him, and he practically doesn't even know who I am. So that's but he does now. We've had some long chats over the last
just to
few months.
interspersal, it's very nice of what Karen said, but I feel like it's like the coach who coached Kobe Bryant in high school. I think Kobe was going to be pretty good. The fact that Karen, I appreciate that, but yeah.
Well, my point is that it's the way you educate yourself. I do get phone calls, I get letters from people who have seen the interviews, and there is no recipe to the secret sauce. It does not exist. The recipe is education, education, practice, practice. Learn your job. Learn what you're doing. The most important thing is to learn what to do when you get in trouble. We can all just slap on trades and do the easy part. It's knowing what to do when you get in trouble, and that's what Dan's programs taught me, is how to get out of trouble. And that's saved me. I lost a lot of money to begin with until I learned what I was doing, and that just turned everything around for me.
I like listening to her. No, she's good.
Well, I don't have to have an interpreter in Chicago. If I'm in New York, I do. 2007, I left my career behind and started trading full time for me. And at the end of that year, I went to lunch with the man who owned the company that I had worked with for 20 years. And he said, "How are you paying for all this?" And I said, "Oh, I'm trading my savings." And he said, "What kind of earnings do you make?" And I told him, and he said, "Well, then I think you need to be managing some of my money." And I said, "Losing my money's one thing. Losing your money is a whole..." I had never conceived of doing something like this. It took him 3 months to talk me into taking a small amount of his money and start trading it. And that small amount today is now it's not just him, it's a lot of other people, but I managed $230 million. And I started trading with $10,000. So if I can encourage you that you all can get something out of this, but if you're not willing to put in the time to educate yourself, you're wasting your time. So,
Karen, what would you say, like, from when you started, maybe a couple, because some people, in the first year are looking at this like, I'm trying to move a mountain. Sometimes you feel like that. Would you say before you were, please don't tell us the first month you were just killing them. How would you say the first couple of years? I mean,
it was years, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I made some costly mistakes. And I started out with my background and being a CPA, I thought I'm going to be a fundamental analyst. Oh, I could just dig into the balance sheets and income statements and all that's great. But I owned Apple the day that Steve Jobs announced he had cancer, and I went, oh goodness gracious. I can analyze balance sheets all day long, and I can't project something like that happening. And then lucky me, I owned Elon Pharmaceuticals, which was just making me money hand over fist. And they were getting ready to come on the market with a new drug, and the stock was just going up and up and up. And overnight, someone on the test of that drug passed away, and the drug plummeted, and I lost 60% of my account overnight when I could not do anything about it. So instead of stopping, I made the great decision, I don't want to do that anymore, and I started trading options. And that's what got me into options. And then I migrated over time from options on stocks to just options on indexes. If I did not have the money that I have, I would be in ETFs. But the great thing about indexes for my investors is the tax break. Jay was talking about it's a 60-40 tax break. I can be in and out of a play in 5 minutes, and my investors take 60% of that as a long-term capital gain.
You basically trade with that kind of capital, one to two vehicles, and kind of a similar strategy. Do you want to talk maybe a little bit about just the general, how you in your learning, did you go from maybe, okay, I was trading this stocks and this and these strategies to, okay, I'm going to trade these two vehicles, this strategy, maybe a little bit about maybe how that all developed? And
I would say in the beginning, particularly when I was trading my money and started getting into options, I was following a lot of Dan's training. Probably my favorite trade was an iron condor. And I used to put them on at the same time, and then I started legging in. Market down, I'd put on the put side, and the market go back up, I'd put on the call side. And I would probably still be using some of those strategies today if I was trading a smaller amount of money. As our investment company grew, our hedge fund grew, I started seeing, well, I'm trading a put spread, a credit spread, and I'm getting maybe, I could get, say, $3 for that spread. But I could go really deep, get down to like 5% probability of expiration. We call it PE. Around the 5%, or 200 points down. On a down day, I could get 200 points, particularly when the VIX is up, and still get the $3. So I just kind of went, duh. I could get spreads a lot further out, but I'm so far out of the money, especially on the put side, that if the market did move against me strongly, I feel like I have the time to move that position. And I also keep a good bit of cash on hand where I've got the capital to fix that position if I need to. That hasn't happened many times.
So you've been, would you say that type of strategy in the SPX you've been doing since what year maybe?
That type of 2010.
So you missed the 2008 mess.
I was in the 2008 mess, but I did okay. I did okay. That was my first year I started trading my former boss's money.
Wow, what a year to do that.
Yes, yeah. And he was tickled to death.
Wow. Wow.